Hello, guys. Welcome back to Sports with Bros. And we have with John Wright. We have done a previous show with him also. So, welcome, John. Good evening from London. I think you are from London or any other city of England. And we will discuss today about squad of the T20 World Cup. Many team has announced, and I think West Indies has announced a half an hour before. So, welcome back to our channel, John Wright. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. You all well there? You everything good?
Yes, we are good, but we have to become the champion of the Asia Cup, but unfortunately we didn't. And we have also Ankit Bhaiya there. So Ankit Bhaiya, you can continue.
Yeah, welcome, John. Thanks a lot for experiencing another session with us, sparing time. Yes, Asia Cup was quite competitive. So, first of all, though, we got new champions, which is good for Asian cricket because Sri Lanka was really done and dusted. So, the way they performed, I think they were the deserving winners of this Asia Cup. Uh, Slightly disappointed with India's efforts, but I think it's better that this defeat has come in Asia Cup. So, maybe they will pull up their socks in the World Cup, upcoming World Cup. So that is the only positive I'm taking out of it. And John, before we take this discussion forward, lots of teams have announced their squads. England squad is looking very dangerous, and welcome changes. Alex Hales is being brought back finally. There was a lot of time that he couldn't get the opportunity, but now he's back in English colours. Unfortunately, Johnny Veristo, who was in form of his life, couldn't make it to the World Cup. I think injury has really hit him in the wrong time. But still, this that squad looks. I think the most dangerous batting lineup is still England's, considering the attacking options they have. Do you think they have the best batting lineup currently in T20? Though I know they lost couple of games to India, but still I think they are the powerhouse side. What's your take on that?
I think on paper, I think you're right. On paper, England have got a very, very strong, explosive batting lineup for T20. My worry would be the current form they're in. I was at a function last night, and Josh Butler was saying about that. He said, teams win World Cups when they're in form at that particular time. England are going into a World Cup where they've obviously got no Johnny Bairstow. They've got a few injuries and also a few players that are out of form. I mean, Josh being one of them. Livingston. I picked up a bit something interesting. Liam Livingston's got a bit of an injury at the moment, so I think that's the worry with England. On paper, it does look very, very strong, the batting, but I would worry that at the moment we're not in the best of form. But if you look at all the major nations, India are not in very good form. England are not in very good form, and Australia. I mean, Australia at the moment. I mean, they're not in particularly good form as well. Okay,
Yes.
especially someone like Aaron Finch. I mean, Aaron Finch is going into this World Cup with not many runs at all. So it wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me if we had a surprise winner like we've had in the Asia Cup with Sri Lanka. It wouldn't surprise me at all. A side like South Africa on their day, I think could easily win the title. It'd be interesting to see on Australian wickets, big boundaries, bouncy pitches. There'll be a big contrast to what it was like in Dubai, and it'll be interesting to see who that suits. As I say, it'll be hard to pick the winner of the World Cup at the moment. I think it all depend on which team hits the ground running and just has a good middle of October to November, I suppose.
One more thing, John, I heard about this World Cup. There will be lots of double headers going on, and double headers are generally will be on the same track, same pitches. So in the second game, track may slow down a bit, not much, but a bit. So considering Australia has so many cricket grounds, do you think this sort of thing was required at all? That only double headers being played in under the same ground only. That it surprises me a bit considering Australia is a big nation. It has various grounds, but still they chose grounds to be same. Only limited set of grounds are being used. I don't know why. Does it surprise you a bit?
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, it surprised me, to be honest with you, the way they've developed the Big Bash the last couple of years. They seem to want to grow it, but they obviously want to grow it on provincial grounds. So they're going out and they're playing cricket on grounds where haven't traditionally had cricket. I mean, it's like they played these three matches in Townsville against New Zealand, which is a
True.
provincial ground. It's not like a big ground. So they're obviously trying to spread the sport outside the big stadia. So that does surprise me because, as you say, Australia have got a lot of cricket grounds, and as you say, to play double headers on the same wicket, it does seem a little bit strange.
I feel it will be unfair for the teams. Matlab, suppose track gets slowed down viciously in the second half, then it toss will play a much crucial role than it should. So that surprises me a bit because had this happened in a country like say a Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, I would have accepted it because of the limited number of grounds that these countries currently have. But Australia have n number of grounds. They could have easily मतलब they could have scheduled it better. I feel I'm slightly disappointed with this scheduling.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Me too. I was very disappointed. But hopefully, it won't be. They won't have the toss bias, the ridiculous toss bias that we had in the Asia Cup. I mean, which was ridiculous, really. I mean, okay, the final the toss bias didn't work out in the final because obviously Pakistan won the toss and it didn't work out. But I mean, if you actually look at the record of the sides that won the toss was in the Asia Cup, there was a big advantage there. Correct?
Absolutely, and I think ICC has to be severely watching on this. Keep a strict watch on this because see, an unfair game is not good for any of the viewers. You cannot have toss
No.
deciding the game before the match starts. So either the timing of the game shall change, or something needs to be done in this direction. Otherwise, cricket will lose its viewers. Means it will affect them. It will affect the game adversely. Totally. So I think time has come where ICC should play a bit मतलब influential or positive role. They are just being laid back too much. I feel sometimes as we see green tops are prepared in some countries, and sometimes spin tracks are being prepared. So too much I think na too much tampering has been done in with conditions and pitches. I feel so now. I think time has come to ICC to step up and let's have the game in play the game in a fair manner. It is not happening. So John, you must be delighted with the test results that have recently come. I was very happy to see third test got in 3 days. It got the result, though wickets fell down quickly, but you have to give credit to English bowlers there. They make the match out of it, the way they bowled in both the innings.
Yeah, I mean, England played very well. The Bazball, I mean, the way the way their attacking intent with the batting, and obviously, as you said, with the Duke ball in this country, the likes of that sort of like trilogy of Anderson, Broad, and Robinson. I mean, Robinson coming back into the side was brilliant because even though Potts done very well against New Zealand and India, Robinson, when he's fit, he was obviously their preferred choice. They obviously wanted him back in the side. And yeah, I mean, those three were very good. We didn't, Jack Leach didn't play much of a part at all. You don't really need spinners in this country. I think that the mistake South Africa made was on the second test where they picked two spinners in Manchester. And obviously, when you pick two spinners, you're basically going to say you're going to bat first. Well, they batted first on that first morning in Manchester against Anderson and Broad, and England won the test on the first morning. So, yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one. I mean, it goes back to what you just said there. England have got a very strong advantage at the moment with the wickets and the ball in this country with Anderson, Broad and Robinson. Then now we go to Pakistan, where we start a test series in Pakistan starting in December. And as I said to Baz last night, he was on the table. I said, "How are you going to get 20 wickets in Pakistan? Because it'd be a totally different game there." I mean, my view is that you can't take Broad and Anderson because they'll probably be ineffective. You probably want someone with a bit more pace, someone like a Mark Wood coming back into the side. He could be effective in Pakistan because there is this myth, isn't there, in Pakistan that you need two spinners. Well, when Australia went over to Pakistan recently, they played two spinners, and although Nathan Lyon and Swepson bowled a hell of a lot of overs, they didn't take the wickets, and it was down to Pat Cummins to actually win the test for them.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. I think that is the pure reason. I think Moeen Ali was being, Mr. McCallum convinced him, I believe, to not to give Test retirement because they needed him for this series. There, I think Moeen Ali along with Jack Leach could be good options because Moeen can do that holding job and spinners. I think England can take a leaf out from Australia's book. They need to bat well there. If England bats well in Pakistan, na, if they are able to score these runs like Australia did, 400, 500, this Pakistan team does not play very well. They play in a very slow manner. They don't attack much. So if England can score heavily, like Australia did, I think England can definitely win this series. They already have won one series in Pakistan that I remember under Nasir Hussain. That series is also, if you see, na, England batted better. They were able to draw games, first two games, and third game when the opportunity came, Pakistan batting collapsed, and they were able to chase it down. I remember that series quite well. So now that is what I think. If England batters can set up the game, if because tracks will be good there for batting, but they just need to ensure that 30s and 40s won't work. They need hundreds. So again, it will be if England batters do well. I do feel their bowling have the discipline to keep Pakistan batsmen in check. What's your take?
No, I agree. I agree totally what you just said there. I mean, if England bat time in Pakistan, the way they play with their intent and they go for their shots, England are going to get big runs. I mean, Pakistan, when they played against Australia, they batted time. They bat for 2 days and maybe get, 2.5 days, get 500. Well, if England bat for England won't need to bat for 2.5 days. They'll get the runs very, very quickly. The problem is going to be getting the 20 wickets. I think you're right. I think Baz will get Moeen out of retirement. I think that's a certainty. I think Moeen is a Baz sort of player. Baz will like Moeen because he bats. He's an attacking bat, and he's a spinner that gives the ball a little bit of air. And if England have got runs to play with, I think England could get 20 wickets, no problem at all. I just think you're right. I think it'd be interesting to see how the way England are playing Test cricket now. This intent. They've won 6 Test matches out of 7 in England. And if they keep up that, if they're allowed to keep up that intensity and play the same way with the bat in Pakistan, I think they can put big pressure on Pakistan because Pakistan can bat time, but they don't go particularly at a fast scoring rate, do they?
Absolutely. That is why main problem was when that last Australian series happened. Pakistan were playing in their home, but it looked like the Australians were totally out bowling them, out batting them, out thinking them. They were able to save a test thanks to the brilliant knock by their captain and some ordinary fielding by Australia. But in the third test, when the opportunity came, Pat Cummins and all their seamers just blew them away. England, I feel, can do that because Pakistan plays is so slow that you always get a chance. That scoring rate does not go up. So whenever you take a wicket, you always feel like you can take couple more and you will be back in this. And also what I feel that Pakistan bowlers, though everyone says that they are very good and all, I think that once the ball gets old, these bowlers do not have that quality also.
No.
Matlab, it was seen in England also, in Australian series also. They are good with the new ball. But once the shine is off, their seamers are not the ones which can contain or bowl a good line and length, bowl a channel that is required. So I feel if England can win the tosses will be important, especially first test. If England can win the toss and bat first, they can really apply pressure. Toss will be very crucial for this thing because the side is oozing with confidence. They have a good holding spinner in the form of Jack Leach who can bowl overs and overs and overs. And if he is able to bowl well, I think the English side then can rotate their seamers around and then put pressure. And I absolutely agree with you that Mark Wood has to be used very smartly. Small bursts, maybe 4 over spells, 3 over spells, but he has to be used very smartly. If England captain Ben Stokes does that, I think he can be the true match winner in those conditions.
Yeah, I agree. I
1
agree
minute.
totally. Sorry, go on, carry on.
John, I have two or three questions from comments also. One question from Abhishek: Who will be the open with Johnny Bairstow in T20 World Cup? Sorry, with Josh Butler.
Oh, I think it'll be Alex Hales. I think Alex Hales will open the batting.
Alex.
Yeah.
And Phil Salt will be in the playing 11 or not?
Yeah, Phil Salt will be. I think it'll be either Phil Salt or Alex Hales are open the batting with Josh. Yeah, definitely yeah, with the fact that they've obviously got rid of Jason Roy. I think I think England will. Yeah, they'll probably that's what I would go with. Whether they will go with it or not, but I mean, I like Phil Salt. I think Phil Salt's a great player, but I think they will go with Alex Hales.
Maybe Aniket, to answer this question, in my view, I think they may start out with Alex Hales. If things does not go right, I think Phil Salt will come in case Alex Hales fails in 1 2 games. Maybe that could be the strategy. Initially, they will start
Yeah.
with experience, and if experience doesn't work, then youth will come in very quickly.
और जो स्पोर्ट्स विद का तो सर ने काफी पहले आंसर दे दिया है इस बारे में।
I think Baristo impact is there. Definitely, the current form he is in. He is playing. I think he is having a best run of his career currently. So his absence will be missed undoubtedly. Plus, Johnny Baristo has played now in Test cricket also has played around 80 Test matches. So he is a very good asset in the field also that he can give ideas to Ben Stokes and also that will also be missed. So I think Moeen Ali's return will definitely help the English side. So one more question, John. This is for you. What will be the pace attack of England? So if you think in T20s, if you can answer first, then in Test cricket we will go. In T20, what sort of combination do you think England will start with? Three pacers, four pacers. What you think?
I think England will mix and match. I think England will mix and match. I think they'll have options. I think they'll try and get some overs out of Livy. They'll try and sneak a few overs out of Livy, both Livy and Moeen, just to share. And then you've got the bowlers. I think a left armer. England have got left arm options, but whether they you've got CJ. And you've got the left armers and the seamers, but I think the key with England is if they can get 10 overs out of Moeen and Livy, I think that will be the key. I just think you need those options. The same with India. India are going to miss Jadeja heavily, but it's a question of just getting with those spin options. I was very, very, very surprised that Ravi Bishnoi wasn't in the squad, but I think it's going to depend. I think someone like Jahal was going to have to bowl really well, and Ashwin. Just to get, I think you need to have at least 10, 15 overs of spin. I think England, you need to have options, and I think it's like with India in the Asia World Cup. You can't have Hardik Pandya being your fifth bowler. You need to have other options. You need to have 6 or 7 options, in my opinion. I don't know whether you
I
guys agree.
I totally agree with you. I also feel that Hardik Pandya is also very confident in his bowling when he knows he has a sixth bowler around. If he has that luxury, he bowls better because he does not then take the pressure that I have to bowl the entire quota of 4 overs, and he does better. I feel that since captain once Jadeja was left out of the due to injury, and surprising thing was captain had the option of Huda, and he didn't opt in any of the matches, barring last game, which was an inconsequential game. So that is very important. I think Hardik Pandya bowls better when he knows that he does not have to bowl entire quota of 4 overs. Matlab, he can do that, but he does not like that pressure. And it affected his game. It was seen in that Pakistan game and Sri Lanka game. He bowled quite ordinarily in both the games because he, I think, knew that he has to bowl the entire quota of 4 overs. It affected his batting also. So I'm totally with you. Ke Hardik Pandya needs to be given one more, matlab na, bowling option. That okay, Hardik, you just give us your best overs. In case things don't go right, you will not be able to bowl. You may not bowl entire 4, and uh, we will get 1 2 overs from either Huda or someone else, or maybe an Akshar Patel gets the game. So Hardik needs that cushion. I think it affected his batting also in the later part of the tournament. And I completely agree with you regarding Ravi Vishnu. I think the limited opportunity he got against the Pakistan, he did everything which was required. He bowled in the power play. He bowled in the middle overs. He bowled the crucial
And I
18th
think the
over
same.
also.
Yeah,
I think you were saying something, so please say.
I think I
I think John, your video has got slightly stuck, so I can see you, but matlab video is neither moving nor I can hear your
Pandia.
voice.
I mean,
Yeah, now I can hear
I
you.
think I player, and as I say, I look at him bench in the Test match, a sixth bowler. As I say, I think you're right. I think England will be the same with Ben Stokes. I mean, my view with Ben Stokes is that he doesn't bowl himself enough in Test cricket. Well, hopefully Josh will turn. Hopefully Josh will turn to him in the T20 in the World Cup, because I think Ben's another player that if he knows that if you know that you've got 6 or 7 options bowling, he could give you a couple of overs, and he's got a particularly he's a bit like an Ian Botham. He's got a golden arm. He'll take a wicket, and the same in the Test match. You know, he come on when England was struggling, when there was a partnership being established. He brought himself on, got a wicket straight away in his first over. He's got a knack of taking wickets. I don't think he bowls himself enough. Same with Joe Root. I mean, when Joe Root was skipper, I don't think Joe Root bowled himself enough. I don't know whether it's the thing about skippers, they're just frightened to bowl themselves. But I'm hoping that Josh, as I say, I think England need to have, I think you need to have like 6 bowlers. I think it's important because, as you said there, if you're Hardik Pandya and you know you've got to bowl those 4 overs, I think it does put a bit of pressure on them.
Absolutely. So, John, one more question has come your way, and that is any anything to you want to say about Ollie Stone when he will be back? And whatever I have seen of him, he has looked impressive. So, when can we see him back in action?
Well, I mean, as I say, I mean, I think he's quite a long way away. I think Mark Wood is very close. I think Mark Wood, as I said, I think we need him in that Pakistan tour, because it was very, very apparent that with the England bowlers in our conditions, that's no problem. But the South African bowl, I mean, the difference with bowling late 80s to mid 90s is crucial in Test cricket. It's very, very crucial. And England need those bowlers that bowl 90 plus just to give them another option. So whether it's Jofra Archer, whether it's Ollie Stone, or it's Mark Wood, we definitely need one of those back, because especially when we're playing away from home, Ollie Robinson will churn out those overs for you, no problem. He'll bowl long spells. Obviously, Anderson and Broad are not. I don't think you're going to get the best out of them, especially in the subcontinent. I mean, I wouldn't take Anderson and Broad together in the subcontinent ever again, because they're only going to bowl short spells. I don't think Broad's been effective in the subcontinent for a while, so I wouldn't take both of them. And I think you're right. We need Ollie Stone, either Ollie Stone, Jofra Archer, or Mark Wood. We need probably 2 of them fit, just to give our attack a little bit more variety away from home.
Absolutely. So, one player which I thought did well against India but missed out on the World Cup in T20 is Richard Gleeson. I think he looked impressive in his debut. He is a tall lad. I think so. Do you feel he has missed out, or matlab it was expected as an English fan? What's your take?
Yeah, well, he played a bit. I mean, he got into cricket very late. He's mid-30s. He bowled quite solid. But I think England at the time, they had a few injuries, and he filled in. But you're right, he probably was a bit unlucky. There's been a lot of England bowlers actually recently that haven't really bowled particularly well in white ball. I mean, Reece Topley's probably been the standout. And we seem to have quite a few left armers. I mean, we've got David Willey, you've got a lot of left armers, but not a lot of the bowlers performed particularly well against South Africa. We obviously had Dilly Rashid he went on a sabbatical, so he missed the beginning of the summer and only came back halfway through the South African series. So he hasn't bowled enough really recently. So a bit worried about the overs that he hasn't had. But yeah, you're right. I mean, as I say, I think Gleeson was probably a little bit unlucky because I think with the England white ball bowlers at the moment, I don't think there's, with the exception of with the exception of Chris Jordan, I don't think there's anyone that sort of really stamps their authority as a place in the side. I mean, Topley bowled very well. I mean, he's come from nowhere, Topley.
Chris Woakes' inclusion surprises you because I have not seen him play much white ball cricket of late. So does it surprise you, Chris Woakes?
Yeah,
Because
they
he
seem to
did.
like. They seem to like Chris Woakes because he was part of the World Cup.
Hmm.
I mean, I think Butler likes him. He was part of the World Cup winning team that won in 2019. They like him. I mean, I agree with you. I think he's more of a ODI player than a T20 player. He would be in my ODI side. Maybe not so much in T20. I mean, hasn't really done much in IPL, has he?
Yeah, he does look only to me a good new ball bowler, but he does struggle when matlab, he has to bowl with the old ball or in second spell. And in T20, I think Reece Topley, the way he's bowling, Will and David Willey also may start off with the new ball. So I don't know, or either Sam Curran if captain gives him a chance. They are much better, I feel, white ball bowlers in T20. Chris Woakes, I think, in English conditions, when ball is moving, can do a third seamer job quite well. But I agree with you. He's better suited to his batting also. I think he's better suited to ODI and Test cricket as compared to T20 cricket. So one more question for you. Where do you see Ben Stokes batting in the World Cup? Because he is the MVP in this player, in this squad. So being now Livingston will be also there. Malan is also there. Harry Brooks is very talented. So where do you see Moeen Ali is also there? So where do you see Ben Stokes coming? Will it be a fixed position or will he be a floater? How do you see? Because he is an impact
I
player.
think I think he'll be a floater. I think he'll be a
No.
floater. It wouldn't surprise me if he batted three. The one thing that England, unlike India, I think India's problem is they haven't got any. Apart from Rishabh Pant, they haven't got any left-handers. England have got a lot of left-handers. So with Stokes, Moeen Ali, and David Malan, you've got three left-handers. So England could rotate them quite well. I mean, Milan's will definitely will probably bat three, but I think there'll be some times when I wouldn't be surprised me if Stokes will be a floater. And as I say, with Moeen, I don't think they'll want Moeen and Stokes coming in after each other because you've got left-hander, especially if David Malan's at the crease. So I think a lot of those England batsmen will rotate because we've got three left-handers in the top 6 or 7. So I think sometimes it will depend who's at the crease and who's established.
So in the last World Cup, I thought England played really well until I think that toss factor came in the semi-final and New Zealand chased it down. So this World Cup, to me, English team is one of the favorites to win the cup, just because of the experience and youth combination that they have in their side, and their batting on the paper looks very dangerous. If I think they can really chase any total down, according to me. If two of their players like Josh Butler, the way he plays Ben Stokes, Livingston, so there is, you expect one of them to be in good form on the day. So they start off for me as a favorites, definitely in top 4. So do you expect them to go to the finals this time around, or do you think we can have a surprise also? Because the group is tough. England, Australia are in the same group. The group is tough.
Yeah, I can see England progressing. I think there will be. I think there possibly could be some shocks. I do like the South African side. I think the South African side could be the dark horses of the World Cup. I just think the balance of their side is right, especially with the bowling. But yeah, I mean, I think England should go well. My worry with England is that we haven't played. There's some key players there that haven't played enough T20 cricket of late. You know, and obviously Ben Stokes would be one of them. Obviously, he's played Test cricket. He didn't play in the 100. He didn't play IPL. So there are a few players there. Mark Wood hasn't played a lot of cricket lately. Livingston's carrying an injury. Josh has been out of form since he got the most runs in IPL. He hasn't really got many runs since. So England on paper look very, very strong, but actually current form wise, yeah, there's big expectations for England, but I mean, I think there's a lot of teams that are very, very similar. Australia again. I mean, like the last World Cup when Australia won the last World Cup last year, they went into that competition in really poor form, but still won it. England could do that, especially with the talent they've got.
So in 2019 World Cup, England fast-tracked, changed bit of their rules and ensured that Jofra Archer is part of their team. This time around, Australia have followed you, and they have ensured Tim David is becomes part of their team. So, what's your take on that? A Singapore guy, though he was playing BBL for past couple of years, finally gets a chance to play in the World Cup. Big moment for him. So, did you expected that, or do you think Australians have done it on purpose? What's your take? Because I think their team was still very strong, but his inclusion has make it even dangerous. What's your take on Tim David?
I like Tim David. I think Tim David's a great lot of players coming through, aren't they? That's why there's been a lot of controversy about the Indian side, whether you stick with the stalwarts like your Kohlis and your Cal Rahul's and your Rohit Sharmas. India have stuck with experience, and Australia have stuck with experience as well. But I still think you should always have a few youngsters coming through, and I think with Australia they don't seem to be a hell of a lot of youngsters coming through. The side's pretty much the same. So I'm pleased to see the likes of Tim David get a chance. I mean, there's been other Australians there that I thought could have been fast tracked, like Josh English. I thought he could have come into the side a lot earlier. But yeah, I mean, I'm pleased to see. I think he's one of these guys that obviously has been proven in all the franchises around the world. He's an impact cricketer. He doesn't appear to chew up balls. He can come in and he can be a finisher, and he can hit big sixes. So yeah, I mean, I think it's good that Australia have got someone like that. Again, Australia seem, looking at their side that's playing against India, there's a few pullouts, haven't there? Stoinis has pulled out. Mitch Marsh has been injured for a lot. So there's a lot. I mean, I think probably what the reason is, we're probably playing too much cricket. A lot of these top guys are playing too much cricket around the world. Hence why we're going into a World Cup where, Ravi Jadeja's not playing for you. Johnny Bairstow's not playing for us. There's other players that have carried injuries. Shaheen Afridi for Pakistan. It's a shame that this World Cup's going to be shorn of some quality players that could have made a difference. And I think we probably played too much cricket. I don't know what your view is.
I agree, and I think, John, this is going to even increase because now I am hearing the stories that Dubai is going to come up with its league. South Africa is starting its own T20 league. I think US is also planning to do something on similar lines. So I think now one step which I see is international T20 cricket will be affected. I think either these leagues will continue or we will only be having a World Cup in future because there has to be a balance. Too many games, as you mentioned, are started to impact players now. Either their physical well-being is being affected or their mental well-being is affected as certain players have taken sabbaticals, breaks. So these to stop these things, I think either international calendar needs to change, and I think only in international, maybe World Cups, or you can say only Champions Trophy or only critical tournament will take place in future because the sort of money these leagues are bringing, it seems very difficult that this league's cricket is going to stop soon. That is my view on this.
No, I agree. It's far too much cricket, and as I say, it's a shame that you people now are they're taking breaks from the game. I mean, it's happening now in women's cricket. You know, people are taking breaks from the game. There's far too much cricket. There's far too much money in the game, and players are going where the money is. So, you know, so obviously international cricket is going to be the loser, sadly. So you're right. I mean, you know, these ICC events, I mean, are going to be the ones that are probably going to, you know, players are going to pull out of them, whether it's from, you know, mental, from mental fatigue or just purely because they're injured, because they're playing far too much cricket.
Because you see, Virat Kohli is happy to take a month's break from international cricket, but he was not willing to take this break for IPL. So that surprises me the most. But I think this is just a trend. It will continue a long way. Also, John, by next week, I think John's connection got disconnected. So we will end this session now, guys. And by next week, we expect, I think by tomorrow only, the balanced teams will also be decide their squads for the World Cup, and then we can, I think, discuss all the squads going forward, discuss their strengths and weakness. So we will see you shortly tomorrow. And by that time, thank you very much for joining us. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Keep watching Sports with Bros.